Let me begin with a question. How many of you here would like to be entrepreneurs in your life? Wow, that's interesting. You all seem to have a lot more clarity than I ever had at your age. I was actually clueless. Let me share the circumstances and events that led me onto my entrepreneurial path. I'm a trained homeopathic doctor. I have done my medical practice. I have lived in many countries. I have switched careers. I have worked in various sectors like retail, wholesale, manufacturing. I have done a course in graphic designing. I have set up a retail store in Sydney, which failed miserably. And today, I am the co-founder and creative director, creating more than 5,000 products each year at Itsy Bitsy, India's largest art and craft retail chain, which I founded with my husband, Harish, in 2007. Changing profession, living in different countries, starting businesses when my two daughters were very young, juggling family and work, learning new skills, introducing new hobbies like scrapbooking and card making in India, bringing art and craft from a largely unorganized sector into modern retailing are some of the highlights of my life and the ones that have made me stronger and who I am today. Let me take you through my story and tell you how my journey of self-discovery and my journey of purpose began. In the year 2003, Harish had been on a month-long sourcing trip to India from Australia, where we lived at the time. He traveled extensively and to the most interior parts of rural India. And on his trip, he uncovered some sad realities. Most of the women in the villages he went to were in a lot of poverty. They were abused physically and mentally, and they had no way of escaping this vicious cycle. On his return to Sydney, he told me the entire thing. He described every single person he had met and narrated every single story he had heard. It was heartbreaking to hear that, and we wanted to do something to make a difference. But the big question was how? Do I donate some money? To whom do I give it to? Do I take it up with some government agency? Would somebody really listen to the stories? How would these women get empowered? There were too many questions and no easy solution. An year after that, in 2004, we sold our house, packed our belongings, and quit our jobs and landed in Bangalore, the place where Harish and I had grown up. Harish is actually in the audience today. So we had found an answer to all the questions we had. We wanted to start a business, a self-sustaining business that would create jobs and empower the women that worked there. Shortly after arriving in Bangalore, I vividly remember going to Chamrajnagar for the first time. This was the place we zeroed in on to start our first, small factory. And we chose that place because it had very little rainfall, poor agricultural opportunity, and high unemployment. I clearly remember going there. The news of the job opportunity had spread in the village, and 40 women had turned up. A shy young woman named Manjula spoke to us, and she told us her story. It's been 18 years, and Manjula still works with us. She had taken loan for her children's education and care. her husband was an alcoholic and unemployed. So she had the sole responsibility of taking care of her family. She wanted to badly clear all the loans, make sure her children got well educated, and they had a great future. So, yeah, I mean, she would say that, my children, I hope they don't end up like me. They need education. Such was the story we heard from many women that day. Soon, we started the facility. And we started training all these women in the processes of making paper flowers, handmade flowers from recycled cotton paper. And they learned it really fast. And with their hard work and dedication, the center grew to 150 people in 2 years. And they all work like one big family. India has a superpower, and that's its people. When people unite, nothing can stop them, and we saw that in action. In fact, what these women achieved was unimaginable. They had changed their economic status so that generations that would come after them would lead a different life, a life of freedom, a life of choice. More than anything, I think it was the confidence that they achieved, that they had gained, that was very important. Today, they now know they can achieve anything, and that's a victory for me. Today, we are a bootstrap business with 3,000 women in 13 rural districts, all working at Itsy Bitsy. Oops, I've got the wrong slide. But that's Itsy and Bitsy, my dogs. And that's the store. So all these women have found economic stability, confidence, and sisterhood for their support. These women always had the spirit, they just needed a chance. Women contribute to 90% of our workforce. We have broken all stereotypes and norms, and the machinery that were conventionally operated by men are all handled with ease by these women in our factories today. We are a vertically integrated business with women force in every aspect of the business, from ideation to designing, to manufacturing, to supply chain, to retail, to wholesale and exports. So, yeah, but the road is not always smooth, and it can get bumpy and challenging. We have had challenges right from the start, but the pandemic, with its repeated lockdowns, perhaps was the biggest of all. Slowing down of manufacturing, slowing down of exports, slowing down of retail stores domestically really hit us big time. But we quickly overcame all that, and it all became great. We could sustain the business and the entire workforce that's dependent on it. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And this is what I love about business. It has the unique ability to change you and to create a change. It is sustainable. You don't have to wait for someone to fund you. You just start selling and the impact just happens. Businesses bring people together and jobs get created. But unfortunately, I believe we've got the meaning of business all wrong in today's world. We are constantly reminded that business is about valuations, making money for the investor, and making the rich richer. But that's not what business is all about. Business is about change. Businesses have the unique ability to create widespread change: social, political, environmental change, and more. But don't get me wrong, Businesses with socio-economic impact doesn't mean businesses without profits. We have not sacrificed profitability, but we have interwoven the social cause into the business. Which gets me thinking hard how my experience could be applied to build more purpose-driven businesses. And I have put it together as a Venn diagram of sorts. A strong purpose, these are what are needed for a purpose-driven business. A strong purpose, market need or opportunity, founder's unique skill set. In my case, it was giving jobs to women and empowering them. And the market opportunity, people of India needed a one-stop shop for their art and craft supplies. And my unique skill set was a keen eye for design and color. This could be applied to any venture you may wish to start. A good exercise would be to go home, take a piece of paper, and make your 3 unique statements to create your own Venn diagram and find your business of purpose. I urge you all to look beyond numbers in a business. Numbers are very, very important, of course, but the real magic happens beyond that. When the 3 things, your product, your process, or service, can make a meaningful change in people's lives. Some of you may already have something that you deeply care about. Others may not have found your passion or purpose, and you could be confused. Or you may not have had the time to figure it all out. The pressure to figure it all out and the pressure to figure out who you are could all be overwhelming. I have 2 daughters myself, 2 young daughters, so I can understand a thing or two about what you're going through. If you have not found answers, to all these, it's perfectly okay. I figured out what I wanted to be and how I wanted to spend the rest of my life only when I was 40. So you all have a lot of time. But do find a purpose, because that can change your life. Purpose is what gives me the motivation to wake up each morning and to be ready to face any challenge that may come my way. And if possible, make your purpose a business, because there's no better sustainable project. Each of you here has the capability to make a huge difference. Positively impacting even one person is an incredible achievement in itself. So let's all change the meaning of business, and let's look at it as a vehicle for socio-cultural change. I truly believe businesses will create the next wave of development, not governments, but businesses. And you all can make that happen. Thank you.